Hi, welcome back to my channel. I know it's been a long time since I've made any dishes lately, so I'm going to show you how to make some chicken taco stew. So what I've done is I have put in one container of bone broth. You can use chicken broth, you can use bone broth in there. So that's basically a 32-ounce container of bone broth. I've had a rotisserie chicken that the other day I had cooked and I had leftovers. So I have actually taken that chicken, shredded a lot of it up into there already, but I'm going to be using the leftover chicken, putting it into there in big chunks as so. I'm going to be putting in some onions, chopped up onions. Like I said, I've put a lot of the ingredients in here already. So I'm going to put in some chopped up onions, some green bell peppers. I'm going to put in some red bell pepper, chopped up red bell peppers. I'm going to be using some minced garlic. You can use fresh garlic if you want as well. I am just using the minced garlic that comes in the little jar like that. And I'm going to be putting in 2 teaspoons of the minced garlic. So that's 1 teaspoon, 2 teaspoons. I'm also going to be putting in a can of black beans, which will be drained, and a can of tomato sauce. So I'm going to go ahead and drain these really quick. Okay, so now I have drained my black beans and rinsed them. So I'm going to go ahead and put those into the mixture as well. I'm going to put in 1 can of tomato sauce. I actually used the no salt added, so I'm going to go ahead and pour that in as well. And again, this is leftover chicken from the other night that I had made a rotisserie chicken. So you can use any type of chicken that's left over. If you don't have any chicken that's left over, you could actually also use some fresh chicken. And I'm going to be putting in some green chilies. And you can use canned green chili or you can use fresh green chili, just depending on what you have on hand. I actually happen to have fresh, so I'm just going to use a small little bit here, and I'm going to go ahead and cut that up into some small pieces. And these are seeded and deveined as well, so if you have questions with that, I am actually going to put on here. So again, this is going to be a southwestern chicken stew. And if you don't have fresh, you can use the cans of like the Ortega or whatever brands those are that are out there. So, and again, if you're using a can, I wouldn't use the whole can. I would just use like half of it. But so this is basically 1 piece chopped up. So I'm going to go ahead and put that in. Next, I'm going to be adding some chili powder. I'm going to put in 1 teaspoon of chili powder. And if you want it more spicy, of course, you can add more. We choose not to have a lot of spice. So I'm going to go ahead and pour that in. And I'm going to put in 1 teaspoon of ground cumin. And I'm going to put in a half a teaspoon of some garlic powder. Yes, garlic powder as well as the granulated garlic. teaspoon of cilantro. Again in here, so there is chicken, there is green bell peppers, red bell peppers, minced garlic, black beans, chili, a can of tomato sauce, chili powder, ground cumin, and garlic powder in here. So I'm going to get a spoon. I'm going to stir it up to mix well. So again, this is with leftover chicken. So this is kind of what it's looking like, everything that I've been putting into there as far. And there's also the bone broth, remember, as well. But you can also use, you know, fresh broth, or, you know, the broth. I just happen to have the bone broth here. So that's kind of what's in there. So I'm going to cook this on low for about 6 hours, between 4 to 6 hours, just depending. If you did not have cooked chicken already made, then you could put in some fresh chicken, and you'd have to cook it about 8 hours on low in order for the chicken to thoroughly cook. Okay, so there you have it. This is some Southwestern chicken stew. Thanks for watching, and if you like my channel, give it that thumbs up, hit that subscribe button, and turn on that bell so you know when I make some new videos. Thanks for watching. So continuing with the chicken chili stew over there I'm making, I'm going to be using some Mission Zero Carb Original Tortillas. These are about the size of them, so I'm actually going to cut these up into small little strips, and I'm going to fry them up in a little bit of oil to make some crispy strips for the soup. So you can see I'm cutting them up into just little strips like so. I'm going to actually put them on the bag here too as I cut. And they don't need to be any particular size. I'm just doing them so that way I can have little tortilla chips to go on to my soup. So another thing you can do, depending, is that you can garnish it with some sour cream if you would like. You could put some olives in it if you would like. You can put some cheese. I'm actually going to be using both of those. I'm going to be using some sour cream on there, and I'm also going to be using kind of the grated Mexican cheese, Parmesan style. It is good for like on salads, pastas, chilies, and anything like that, and it can add a little bit of zest to it. So I'm going to actually sprinkle that onto the soup once I get it into the bowls. So I'll be showing you as I'm doing that. I'm just waiting for the oil here to heat up, and then I will be frying up these little strips here. So depending again to how many strips you want, etc., is to how many you make. So I have quite a few, so I'm going to actually be using all the rest of my little tortillas that I do have here, so I will have a lot of strips. But again, it's all a matter of fact of how many you want. And these are actually flour. They do have corn ones as well, I believe, or flavored ones maybe, of the zero net carbs. So if you are looking for the low carb version of these, there's 0 sugars in there, they're high fiber, and the carb count in these is 7 carbs altogether. So it's really not that many. They take out the fiber, so it does become the 0 net carbs. So I'm going to be putting them into the little soup bowls here. Just again waiting for this to heat up, and you don't need to cook these very long. They, you know, because they are the strips, they will cook very quickly. And I'm actually going to drain them on a paper plate with a towel on it, so that way to absorb up the extra oil there. So as you can see, I'm frying these up in here, like I said, and just making them crispy. Corn probably is actually a little bit better to do them, but you can't I don't have those. I'm actually using the flour this time. So and as you can see, the soup actually looks really good. I will take a final picture here of the soup in the bowl. Once I get everything all ready. It's been in the crock pot for about 4 hours, because remember, I did use chicken that was already cooked. So that way it has been a little bit more to the thing. So that way I'm doing a little bit crispier on there. So this is what the little tortilla strips look like that I have fried up. As you can see, they're very, very small, very browned. And that's kind of what you want. I mean, if you have tortilla chips or something else you want to put them in, that's fine as well. I just like to do the low carb, so that way I do always make, my stuff more fresh than what I would buy in a store or anything like that to that nature, because I do the low carbs. So basically this is a very low carb menu that I'm making with the soup and the low carb tortillas here. And again, with the sour cream and the Mexican cheese. So again, I will show how everything is all turning out once I am going on here. So again, if you see, these aren't taking very long either to fry. I will post the recipe that I used for the different quantities that would go into the soup that I did make today. So that will be posted on this video as well. And it's a great recipe to use when you have leftover chicken. You can make, anything with it, so it's a great thing to use leftovers to make more meals as you go along. Kind of make that dollar stretch a little bit, as I would say, especially with the new prices of everything going up. With food, it's getting a little bit outrageous, so I'm going to be trying to post more videos as we're coming along to show you how to make a roast and then make it into something different, or chicken and stuff like that, so that way it stretches your dollar a little bit more. Don't forget to always check out some of my other videos on here as well, as how to keep vegetables safe longer, or fresh longer, not so much safe, but how to keep vegetables fresh longer, how to keep produce fresh longer, how to keep fruits fresh longer. I do have one on there as well. So as you can see, I have the soup into my bowls here. So I'm actually going to take some of these little tortillas that I just made. They're a little bit warm still. I'm going to take some of those, and I'm just going to crunch them up a little bit onto the top of my soup here. Sorry, I need to put it over to this way a little bit so you can see what I'm doing. I'm going to put those in to my soup to kind of give it that extra little tortilla flavoring here. You can put as many as you wish. I'm personally not going to put any sour cream on mine just because I don't like sour cream, but I will be putting on some of the cheese that I was talking about. And I'm going to put on about 2 tablespoons of the cheese. And there you have it, leftover chicken southwestern stew.